The bankruptcy papers sat on Marcus's kitchen table between us, coffee cups pushed aside to make room for his desperation. My older brother had always been the golden child, the charismatic one, the risk-taker, the entrepreneur who Mom bragged about at every family gathering. I was just David, the quiet younger brother who worked in healthcare administration. It's simple, Marcus said, sliding the loan documents across the table. You cosign this consolidation loan, I restructure the business debt, and we're good. Family helps family. I'd reviewed his financials 3 days earlier when he first asked. 7 failed business ventures in 9 years. Each one funded by family loans he'd never repaid. Mom had remortgaged her house twice. Dad's retirement fund was gone. Our sister Amy had lost her college savings cosigning his last guaranteed success. I can't do it, Marcus, I said quietly. You owe $340,000 across 6 creditors. This consolidation doesn't solve the underlying problem. His jaw tightened. The underlying problem. The problem is this family doesn't support me when I'm building something real. You've built 6 companies that collapsed. The pattern. Don't lecture me about patterns. He stood abruptly, chair scraping. I'm about to lose everything. The house, the cars, Julia's threatening divorce. I need this loan. I have $47,000 in savings, I said. If I cosign and you default, I lose everything too. I can't. You live in a studio apartment and drive a 10-year-old Honda, Marcus interrupted. Don't pretend you're some financial genius. You're just selfish. I stood to leave. This conversation was going nowhere productive. That's when I saw him grab the metal pipe from beside his garage workbench. Sit down, David. Marcus, put that down. Family money isn't yours to hoard. His voice had gone cold flat. Dad gave you that inheritance same as me. You spent yours on investments while I used mine to create jobs, build businesses, contribute to the economy. Dad's inheritance was $30,000, 15 years ago. I put mine in index funds. You bought a boat. The pipe swung faster than I could process. The impact against my left forearm felt like electricity and fire simultaneously. I heard the crack before I felt it, a sound like a green branch snapping. Then the pain arrived, white hot and overwhelming. You owe me this loan as family. Marcus screamed, raising the pipe again. I looked down. My radius bone had punched through the skin just above my wrist, white against red. Blood was spreading across my shirt sleeve. The compound fracture was textbook. I'd seen hundreds in medical imaging over the years. Every dollar you saved while I struggled makes you complicit, Marcus continued, pipe still raised. You watched me fail and did nothing. So now you fix it, or I break the other arm. Your choice. I stayed seated, cradling my destroyed arm against my chest. The pain was extraordinary, but my mind had gone peculiarly calm, clear. I'd spent 7 years in emergency medicine before moving into hospital administration. I knew I had maybe 90 minutes before compartment syndrome became a risk. Okay, I said quietly. I need a hospital. Marcus lowered the pipe slightly, surprised. You'll sign. I need medical attention first. Then we'll talk. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. I'll drive. But we're going to Mercy General, not your fancy university hospital. Somewhere that doesn't know you, doesn't ask questions. I didn't correct him. Mercy General was perfect. The drive took 14 minutes. Marcus kept talking, justifying, explaining how this was ultimately my fault for being risk-averse and emotionally stingy. I focused on keeping my arms still, watching the bone fragment move slightly with each bump in the road. You've always been like this, he said, running a red light. Safe little David with his safe little job, and his safe little life. You know what Mom said last week? She said you're the disappointment. The one who never tried anything important. The emergency room entrance came into view. Mercy General, a 340-bed facility I'd acquired through a private equity partnership 38 months ago. We'd invested $89 million in renovations, updated all the imaging equipment, tripled the trauma capacity. It was my largest holding, valued at approximately $340 million in the latest assessment. Marcus pulled up to the ambulance bay, ignoring the emergency vehicle's only signs. Remember, he said, gripping my shoulder hard enough to make me gasp. You fell. Accident at home. Nothing about loans or conversations. You tell them anything different, and I'll make sure everyone knows how you abandoned your own brother. I nodded, climbing out carefully. The automatic doors opened. I walked through into the bright triage area, my arm dangling at an unnatural angle, blood dripping steadily onto the polished floor. Marcus followed close behind, already rehearsing his concerned brother routine. Excuse me, a nurse rushed forward with a wheelchair. Sir, let's get you. Oh my God, is that bone? Compound fracture, I confirmed. Happened about 20 minutes ago. Dr. Peterson to Trauma Bay. One, she called out, already moving. Compound radial fracture, patient ambulatory and alert. Marcus hovered nearby as they transferred me onto a gurney. He fell, he volunteered. Terrible accident at home he was. Sir, please step back, the nurse said firmly. Are you family? I'm his brother. I drove him here. Waiting room is through those doors. We'll update you shortly. I watched Marcus reluctantly head toward the waiting area, still in his helpful brother performance. The trauma team surrounded my gurney. Dr. Peterson, excellent orthopedic surgeon. I'd recruited her from Johns Hopkins 2 years ago. Leaned over to examine the fracture. David, she said, surprised. What happened? My brother hit me with a metal pipe, I said clearly. Deliberately, to force me to cosign a loan. The team froze. This was intentional assault? Dr. Peterson asked. Yes, he followed me here. He's in your waiting room right now. She looked at the head nurse. Janet, call security. Tell them we have an assault victim and the assailant is on premises. Also call the police.
Oh.
Already texting them. Janet confirmed. Dr. Peterson returned her attention to my arm. We need to get you to surgery immediately. This fracture is going to require plates and pins. But first let's get x-rays and document everything properly. The radiology tech arrived within minutes. Tom, who I'd approved for hire personally after reviewing his credentials, he positioned the portable machine carefully, capturing multiple angles of the fracture. These images are going directly into evidence. Dr. Peterson said quietly. The police will want copies. So will your attorney, I assume. Yes, I said. Thank you, she nodded. I've seen a lot of injuries, David. This kind of force, this placement, someone wanted to cause maximum damage. I'll make sure my report reflects that. The pain medication began taking effect, making everything slightly distant and soft-edged. I watched the organized chaos of the trauma bay. The team I'd helped build, the equipment I'd funded, the protocols I'd implemented. Security arrived first. Michael Brooks, head of hospital security, former police sergeant. Mr. Caldwell, he said, his face grim. Dr. Peterson briefed me. Your brother is currently in the main waiting area. We have him on 6 different cameras. What do you need from us? Keep him there until police arrive, I said. Don't let him know anything's wrong. He thinks he's waiting for updates on his injured brother. Understood. Michael spoke into his radio. All units, subject is to be contained but not confronted. PD en route. ETA 4 minutes. Through the partially open trauma bay door, I could see Marcus in the waiting room on the security monitor. He was on his phone, pacing, occasionally glancing toward the treatment area. Impatient, annoyed at the wait. Detective Amanda Foster arrived, with 2 uniformed officers 7 minutes later. I'd met her at a hospital fundraiser 6 months ago. Sharp, thorough, no nonsense. Mr. Caldwell, she said, pulling out a notebook. Can you tell me what happened? I walked her through the entire encounter. The loan demands, the escalation, the deliberate assault, his threats in the car, his coaching me to lie about the injury. And the suspect is here, she asked. Waiting room. He doesn't know I've reported anything. She studied the x-rays on the monitor, the bone fragment clearly visible. That's aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Given the weapon, the deliberate nature, the threats, we're looking at significant charges. He also committed this assault in the parking lot at his residence. I added, his neighbor has security cameras. The angle should show everything. Detective Foster made notes. We'll obtain those recordings. Dr. Peterson, how serious is this injury? Severe compound fracture requiring immediate surgery. Dr. Peterson said, minimum 6 months recovery, possibly permanent nerve damage. The force required to cause this kind of break with blunt trauma is substantial. This wasn't an accident. Janet, I said to the head nurse, could you ask Mr. Stevens to come down? She nodded, picking up the phone. Marcus appeared on the monitor, now sitting, leg bouncing nervously. He checked his watch, probably wondering how long before I'd be discharged, before we could have the signing conversation he thought was coming. Richard Stevens, Mercy General's hospital administrator, arrived 3 minutes later. He'd been my first major hire, a veteran healthcare executive with 30 years of experience. David, he said, taking in the scene. My God, what happened? Family dispute that became assault, I said. Richard, I need you to understand something. The man who did this is in our waiting room. He chose this hospital specifically, because he thought I had no connection here. He doesn't know. Understanding dawned on Richard's face. He doesn't know you own Mercy General. He thinks I'm a mid-level administrator at University Hospital, I confirmed. He brought me here thinking there'd be no complications, no questions, no consequences. Detective Foster looked between us. You own this hospital, majority shareholder, I clarified. Through a private equity partnership. I've kept it quiet for personal reasons. Family reasons, specifically. Richard's expression hardened. Your brother assaulted you and brought you to your own hospital, thinking he'd gotten away with it. Yes. What do you need from me? Pull all security footage from the parking lot, the entrance, the waiting room, everything. Give copies to Detective Foster. Document the timeline completely. Already done, Richard said. The moment security flagged this as assault, all relevant footage was preserved and backed up to secure servers. Dr. Peterson finished her examination. David, we need to get you into surgery. That fracture won't wait much longer. 5 more minutes, I said. Detective Foster, what happens next? We arrest your brother on assault charges, she said. Given the severity of the injury, the premeditation, the use of a weapon, he's looking at felony assault. Bail will be substantial if granted at all. The security footage shows everything. We have him entering the parking lot with you, the waiting room conversations, all of it, combined with your testimony, the medical evidence, and the neighbor's footage. This is an exceptionally solid case. I nodded. Then let's proceed. Detective Foster spoke into her radio. All units, move in. Suspect apprehension authorized. On the monitor, I watched 2 uniformed officers enter the waiting room. Marcus looked up, confused as they approached. The audio was off, but I could see the conversation. Marcus pointing toward the trauma bay, explaining he was waiting for his brother. The officers remaining calm, professional. Marcus standing, starting to gesture more aggressively. Then the handcuffs. His face went from confused to angry, to genuinely frightened in the span of 15 seconds. They led him past the trauma bay. He saw me through the window, saw the medical team, the x-rays on the screens, Detective Foster with her notebook. Our eyes met for just a moment. He understood then. Not everything, but enough. Enough to know that his plan had failed catastrophically. Mr. Marcus Caldwell, Detective Foster said, meeting them in the hallway. You're under arrest for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. You have the right to remain silent. I watched them lead him away, still reading his rights, Marcus's voice rising in protest, but the words muffled by distance and doors. Okay, I said to Dr. Peterson. I'm ready for surgery now. She squeezed my good hand gently. We'll take excellent care of you. You're going to be fine. As they wheeled me toward the operating room, I saw Richard speaking with hospital legal counsel in the hallway. Documentation was already underway. Incident reports, witness statements, evidence preservation. The machine I'd built was protecting me now. The systems and people I'd carefully assembled over 3 years. The pre-op area was quiet, efficient. The anesthesiologist explained the procedure, while nurses prepped the IV line. David, Richard appeared beside the gurney one last time. Your brother is being processed at county lockup. His bail hearing is scheduled for tomorrow morning. The DA's office has already called. They're treating this as a priority case given the severity. Thank you, Richard. Also, he continued, I took the liberty of calling your attorney. James will meet you in recovery. He's already drafting the restraining order. I nodded, feeling the pre-surgery medications beginning to work. One more thing, Richard said quietly. I'm sorry this happened. I'm sorry your family put you in this position. But I want you to know, every single person in this building has your back. You've built something remarkable here, and we don't forget that. The words hit harder than I expected. My throat tightened. That means everything, I managed. They wheeled me into the operating room. The surgical lights were brilliant overhead. The team assembled and ready. Dr. Peterson reviewed the imaging one final time. All right, David, the anesthesiologist said. Count backwards from 10 for me. 9, 8. The last thing I remember thinking was that Marcus had finally faced a consequence he couldn't talk his way out of. He'd assaulted someone he thought was powerless, in a place he thought was safe, never imagining that the quiet little brother had spent years building something substantial. The pipe had broken my arm, but it had shattered his illusions completely.